Okay, so now we got doing a couple of little repairs and fixes on my son's 2011 Chevy Avalanche. One of the things that's happening that we're going to be looking at here, I got to try figure out, is on the driver's side, the power lock works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. On the passenger side, it works 100% of the time when you hit it. So that tells me that the old mechanisms are working fine. It's just a matter of the actual switch here giving a signal down to say yes, let's lock or unlock. So I'm going to pop this off, maybe try clean the contacts, open all this up. We'll see what's inside. So when it comes to this, doing it with one hand here, but all you got to do is pry in here. I got a little baby pry bar, but even a screwdriver will work. There's just two little clips holding it in. Pop it up. Sounds a bit violent, but that's normal. And now you can see the connections in the back. So these connections, if you can see it, there's a little tab that you push it in, right there on the top. Tough with one hand, but then they just push that down and then just wiggle it out. So one thing I recommend is take a picture of this. So therefore you know when you put it back together, as you can see there's some blanks, it goes exactly where it's supposed to go. So I'll pop these out, take this piece inside, and we'll take a look at it and see if we can't figure out why we're not getting lock and unlock. Okay, we got her on the bench now. For those of you that noticed, I'll just point out in the last part that just ended there, as I took this off, you saw that the orange connector came out. What I did was I actually took this out of the truck, disconnected them, and then realized, you know what, I should actually maybe do a video on it in case someone else needs a hand at this or wants to see what's going on. So I pushed them back in about 3/4 of the way, clipped it down, so when I popped it off and was wiggling and pulled it out, they were all like 3/4 of the way in. But what I said to just sort of push and lift is still what I did the first time around. So anyway, those that caught it, good eye. Let's open this up and see what we got. I see a couple of smaller, they're all Torx, a couple of smaller ones and some bigger ones, the three. So I am going to, it looks like the small ones hold it to here, the top to the bottom. The three look like they hold it down below. So if we take those three off, we should be able to get this piece off. Then we'll see what we got. Maybe we can have access to what we need there. Maybe we got to do a little more. Let's take a look. We'll open this up. So they're Torx, and I couldn't tell you what number it is. So just have a multi-set like this, and then it doesn't matter. So yeah, a few things to look at on that Avalanche. Also, the my son got a little schmuck there on the passenger mirror, so that'll be the next thing, is replacing that. So that'll be on a different video if you're interested. Okay, so we got the three out. Let's see what we got. Okay, so that's the cover plate. That's going to push down inside. So I'm going to say that we need to go one lower and take that next one off as well. So let's try this, go a little lower. Is that the right one? Bingo. Let's see what happens. Should be playing some music while I do this. So how is your days going, everybody out there? Okay. Slow. I haven't looked inside here, so I don't even know what's there. So you could feel the knives and the connectors sliding through here, but that was it. That was the only resistance. So by looking at that, I'm going to say to get the back of the board, there's no screws on it, it'll probably pop off if this isn't holding it. Oh, there we go. There's the top board. So the only thing holding that top board on, you can see the pins right there. They go through, I don't know if you can see them, but there's little holes right here. So that lines up with that when you put it back on. So that way they come into here. Okay. Now we got some screws. Yep, same Torx as those other small ones. Let's see if the screws are different. They look a little bit different. A little smaller. Yep, so keep a third pile. When working with boards like this, they're pretty sturdy. Just make sure you don't scratch. To snap or break would be pretty tough. You'd have to be pretty aggressive with them, but as long as you're just gentle and you're not hitting the components, then you're okay. It's not too bad. I actually took electronics in high school way back when. Quite interesting, making your own boards. Okay, and we'll see what this one does. Oh, two more. Hopefully this will pop out, but we'll see. Let's see how this comes apart together. Okay, let's see if I can go inside one of those holes. Yeah, oh yeah, just lifts right off, real easy. Nothing's holding it, no resistance. What I did was just go in one of the holes that had the screw. I just went through and just gently went sideways and then lifted, and it just came right up. Too easy. Little rubber gasket. Oh, that's the whole bottom of it. Okay, there's your connector pad. Yep. So the issue we're having is down here at the bottom. So you can see, I don't know if you can or not, there, that's a better angle. Let's just grab something to point with. So there's the two spots, the little plastic spots where it pushes up. Looking at that, they look fine. Yeah, and they push up properly, so there's no issues there. You put your finger on it, pushing down to give it some resistance. As you're pushing up, you can feel it pushing against your finger. Because right now when there's nothing there, you don't really see it. When you push down, then this side, yep, so it's pushing up on either side like it's supposed to. So all the plastic pieces, the rocker part is fine. So that means it's the connecting. So that's, now when we flip it over, that's these two right here. So are those, when these push in, are they making contact on the board properly? That's what I was thinking might need to be cleaned. So let's take a look. Gently lift it off. And sadly, they are about as shiny as one could ask for. So if that is the case, then what is not making it make or break? You can see here, see the little spots where it connects. You can see the little S in the middle, if you can see that. So what that is this pad conducts, it's pushing down, so when you push down, it makes either side touch each other, joining the circuit together. So that completes the circuit when you push down, so that's your lock, unlock. There'll obviously be these all the way along, but I don't want to lift them for each of the functions on here. But I don't want to lift this up because they're working properly, so why mess with it? So it's just those two that I'm worried about. What I do have here is some contact cleaner, electrical contact cleaner, so I'm going to give it just a little hit with that. Worst case, it does nothing. It won't harm anything. So what I have, switch and contact cleaner. The good thing about this, if you buy, I highly recommend, I bought Ideal, definitely an electrical company. Don't buy your generic wherever you would go, like your Home Depot, if you're in Canada, Canadian Tire, or don't buy any of those when you're dealing with something like this. Make sure you get one from a very reputable name, whether it's Ideal or another name, doesn't matter, but get one that you can trust. You're going to pay a little more, but you're guaranteed that you're not going to wreck anything. It's meant for it. So there we go. Take the clean end of a dirty rag. Just gently give it a little wipe in there. All the circuitry inside this board, you can see it in the green. It's all hidden. It's only the spots that are shiny, the exposed parts, that it's actually getting. The rest, you're not cleaning anything in particular. You're just getting the board, the top of it. So that's clean there. While I got some on there, let's put a little dusting on here just to make sure that's good. And cleaning wise, that's about all I can see. That looked pretty good. So sadly, I'm not sure if that's going to do it or not. So let's put this back together and just confirm that when I push on that while holding this down, that I am getting that action that I want. Maybe it's not pushing it all the way. It's not forcing it. So I put my fingers in there. It's pushing on it. It's not. Let's see. So if I hold that down, and I'm putting pressure on right here now, I should feel the see, I feel that. You can hear it. That's that little rubber piece pushing down and making contact. Can I have access to anywhere in there where I can test it? I see little test points almost on this side. That kind of comes through. Yeah, that test point is an example right here, which should be on the one side of this. Connection is not on this side, so once down, I don't have any way of putting a meter on it and confirming it that it's working before I put it back in the truck. So I guess I will button it all back up again. No point in wasting your time and showing me do all what I just did. Basically, just play the video in reverse if you want to see it. Gonna put that in. Then our board goes on top. Just be gentle that you don't break any of these pins when you're putting things back together. That's all. Just go nice and slow. And we'll put it all back together, and then we'll test it out and we'll see what happens. Okay, I was messing around with it a bit as I was putting it back together, and I found a way to actually test it. Once the first board's on, I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, all these pins are going to be transmitting the connection of this up to the actual brain on here. This is more just getting the inputs up to where the thinking happens, if you want to think of it that way. So, by looking at this, I thought, well, let me try different pins randomly while I'm pressing lock and unlock to see if I have continuity anywhere. If I have continuity on and off while pressing it, that confirms that everything below here is working. So if it's still not working, then it's something north of that, which is something here. So I'll show you what I did. You can see my meter here. I'm just a bit off screen, but I just got it set to continuity. Now keep in mind, you're not going to hear it beep if you're getting a resistance value, but it's not just pure continuity. So keep an eye on that, and what I'm going to do is reach under here and just push this like that for one, and then I'll find the other one and do that. So let's, yeah. Let's move this wire up here. Let's move the lead this way. Keeps getting in my way. There we go. So I found that the bottom, the common, is the bottom middle one on this side, if you can see. And then the other one is the first two, lock and unlock, on this side. Hope you can see that. I'll bring it closer just in case you need to check it on yours. Right there. So that's the common, the bottom, furthest over on that half, and the top two on the left are the actual lock and unlock. I'm not sure which one, but it doesn't matter. You'll see when I click it. So just to give you an orientation of the actual, how it's sitting. Okay, so now let's give it a test. Let me see if you can see that. So I'm touching the outside one. And now the second one in. So you can see there's our resistance, 200, off. So now it's going on and off as I'm hitting the switch. Okay, so that's working. So now I'm going to move to this side and hit the outsides. See, look at, there we go again. Perfect. So now we do have hard evidence that everything is working fine all the way up to those pins. So that's good. So we know everything's good here. We can leave that buttoned up. So now those pins go into there. Are they not making good connection inside here then? Because those pins go through like a little metal sleeve. There's nothing on the backside, just holes in the board. Comes through the board and goes into there. So maybe it's not making good connection from there to there. We can test that, it looks like, by checking for continuity from where it's soldered to where the pins are. Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so we're good from where it comes in to there. It's just a matter of whether those pins are actually touching that properly, which it should. There's no damage, they're not bent. I gave everything a spray of this and then just let it evaporate. I didn't wipe it down. It'll do, it's not an issue. So I just gave everything a little bit of a spray to try clean it up a bit just in case. Let's give that little shot in there, just one more. Just to make sure that that pin coming through is actually connecting properly. Okay. So now let's do a quick check for continuity down here on the board. That will tell us, while moving the switch, that will tell us if the pins in here are making good contact with the little metal brackets that they go into. So let's do this again using our switch, and this time I'm going to use the points on the board, if I can hold it properly. Okay, let's check our meter. Nothing, maybe I'm just not on there. Good. There we go. Just wasn't on the pin. Okay, so that one's good. Now let's go to the next one. And try the other side. Yep. Okay, so this function, lock and unlock, is now good into this board. So we know we're good all the way through, in theory, up until we hit this connector. Now I looked online and I couldn't see a designation. I looked for a schematic or a wiring diagram. I couldn't find a schematic that showed this. According to this, it is, whoops, I'm moving the camera around, get you all seasick. This is block J1. So you can see how they're all labeled. So on a schematic, you would find J1, and if you look inside, you can't see it here, they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you could find J1 pin 4 as an example, and it told you where it went, you'd know which ones of these. I'm assuming it's that, but really it's below this, but you can see that once it hits here, it literally could be anywhere. It could be any of these. That's why I needed a schematic to see, is it here? Is it here? It's like you don't know. So it's getting to the board good. All these pins look good. Maybe I'll give it one more little spray. Now I'll put it back together and then we'll try it on the vehicle. I was going to put it on the vehicle, but I just wanted, coming across this, I wanted to point that out. Here's another good point of troubleshooting where